everyone. Welcome to another Insight. We'll be speaking about to be
Yes.
covered. Peace, everyone.
To be covered. Peace, everyone. So, well, if you didn't get a chance, of course, to catch Chief's segment on To Be Covered, make sure you check that out on the I New Life Global Ministry YouTube channel. And you'll hear all the teaching on what it means to actually be covered. And I know we like to just jump right on in, and we always pick what stands out to us, or, kind of where our heads are after the message. So we want to jump in and let's see what we got.
Jump right in. Like, this was it was one of those topics where some people jumped off this live. So
yes. Well, the magic word was master.
Yes.
Once Chief used that word master, it was like, I don't want anything else to do with this live.
Right.
But for those of us who stayed,
yeah,
we knew what he was saying.
Right. And that's an indication of someone who is uncoverable. I'm sorry, I just have to say it and be real about it. Because it's like we understand, right? We understand the importance of being covered. And one of the things that stood out to me is when Chief was speaking about that there's no specification of a head covering in Scripture. So the covering is your head. That's what the covering is being covered by a man. And just to be clear, like how Chief is clear, that means someone who is guiding you, leading you. They're the man in your life. It's not a friend, a buddy, or anything like that. It's your man. So, but yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was good when he broke down, like, even the whole idea where sometimes you think you can just put on a head wrap and now you're automatically covered, or you're quote unquote righteous. And I just thought it was beautiful how he explained, like, no, that doesn't really make you coverable. You may just be wearing it,
right.
But is it in you to really be covered? Is it in you to really want to be righteous? So that was something that I was like, that says a lot. Because if you've been in Babylon culture for a long time, you see where, sometimes women will go that route and, start dressing up and looking like they're very righteous. I think we posted a video about that.
Yes.
Where she was saying, like, the minute you tell a woman to do something that she doesn't want to do,
right,
she leaves. And she'll leave with her head wrap on and the essential oils and all that stuff.
Righteous as she want to be.
But just as righteous as you want to be, right? So, yeah. That ain't it, sis.
Right, it's not. And I just think about my experiences with being in House of Yuya and being in the Covering Initiative, and he spoke about how not all the women are coverable, and what that looks like. And there have been some who did, like, they appear to be that prototype, but when it came down to really confronting the real issues, it's like, I'm running out the door. I'm gone. And
can't do it. I can't do it.
Right. And it's like, we realize that when we say master, like yes, like, you're giving your life over. So that was one of the things that stood out to me. Like, you're completely giving your life over to your master, to your head, and realizing, like, okay, I cannot do this by myself. I cannot be walking out here coverless, don't know what I'm doing. I need some direction, because I think that women in the world, they don't realize that you're getting your direction from somewhere, but it's about, like, where you're getting that information from. And a lot of times I know that she spoke about, like, having to battle the woman whose mind has been infiltrated by so many different thoughts and ideas. Many times, if she was promiscuous and had a lot of different men, she has, like, all of those thoughts. So it's, like, kind of hard to, like, lead that woman, because you're fighting against all those different thoughts. So, like, that could be an issue with being, like, uncoverable, if it's hard to get you to be receptive or to be submissive and listen, because you're always arguing and going back and forth, and like, well, I learned this and I learned that, and it's like, I cannot work with you. I cannot work with you.
Work with you.
Yeah.
I think also, like, sometimes if you're well, I don't know. It's like, let's say you're a woman and you were raised by your father, and then you get with a man and you come in saying, well, my daddy taught me this, or my daddy told me this, and it's like, well, you ain't with your daddy no more, you know. So this is what's needed in this space, you know.
Yeah.
And I love when Chief talks about it. It's covering, but I love when Chief talks about, like, you're coming into a man's world. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily I'm coming into his world, but I'm bringing my worldly thoughts and my worldly way of being into your world. It don't work like that. The two worlds can't exist in one space, you know. So I think part of being covered is also being able to come in like almost like a clean slate to some degree. You know, I know it's hard when we're coming out of Babylon and we're coming into a beautiful culture like this. But I think if you see the value of what is in front of you, and for us being in the House of Yuya, we know, like, it's don't get any better than Chief. It gets no better. Right. So you do kind of have to clean that slate off if you want to be coverable, you know.
Right.
So.
Right. And yeah, I think about the oil being tilled. That was a conversation that we also had inside of our new, like, being able to make sure your soil is ready for seeds to be planted. You know, if you're like, it's hard dirt and it's like, oh man, I'm trying, like, it's a struggle for the farmer to try to work with you. It's like, man, I can't get nothing up in this. I gotta soften it, water it, and do all these different things. And depending on your age, sometimes it's just like, yeah, it's not working.
He did. Like, there's nothing left to grow here. But I do love how he did talk about when you're covering a woman and what all that may entail. Because I think a lot of times you think, like, people may think, oh, you're covered, so it means that, you know, you just do whatever is told to you to do. I mean, you do what's told to you to do, but there's an art to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think he talked about, like, sometimes you have to nurture the woman in a certain way in order for her to just kind of be receptive to whatever it is that you're giving her. But you have to understand, like, even that's a responsibility.
Right.
You know? And that's an art. You know, it's an art to be able to take that woman and mold her into what is needed in the space. You know, so, but that's a two-way street. You know, it's not just he's doing all the work, but you have to be willing to, you know, give yourself over.
Yeah.
And so I think about that as well, like how important that is as a woman.
Absolutely. Yes. And he did speak about, like, how some, like, he spoke about men, like, sometimes they'll just listen and pick and choose, like, okay, well, you gonna listen to everything I say, and he spoke more about, like, no, it's not just like barking orders, like, you're nurturing, like, you're, you know, so it is like a whole science to it, you know. And yeah, it's deep, it's pretty deep. You know?
Pretty deep.
Yeah.
Pretty deep.
But
man.
Yeah, I do appreciate and value being covered, because it's like one of the things that I find, like, is really awesome is that I don't have to worry about anything. Like, everything is taken care of. So it's like I don't have to sit, like, and figure out, like, how's this gonna work out, or like, when is this gonna be? I'm confused. Like, you're never confused. You're always clear. You're always told. You're always told what you have to do, what's the plan. And I just give thanks for that security. A lot of women speak about, like, oh, I want a man so I can feel secure. But it's like, you know, you get that benefit if you're, like, willing to, like, if you're okay with, like, that's master. But it's like, you can't expect a man to want to, like, provide that security if you don't listen, or if you're a danger to, like, if you, like, you know, you don't know what you're gonna get, like, or if you're hiding, like, I have this head covering, I'm pretending, but then at any moment you just flip out and go crazy, and it's like, you're a danger. So
you're a danger, you're a threat. And it's also, I think, in this situation, considering that it's more than one woman who's covered, there is you have to take into consideration, like, there are other people involved. So when you mess things up, or because you're not listening, and you don't realize you maybe leaving, or you not wanting to accept being mastered over, like, it can affect others as well.
Yes.
So I think about that as well. I mean, we've experienced that in the house, where women, it's just, they're not coverable, and it affects others. It does affect others. So
yeah. And it's hurtful because it's like you're working with these sisters and you think you're building a relationship, only for them just to kind of like just leave you, or like
leave it hanging.
Yeah, it can be, it can be hurtful, but at the same time, we got to keep pushing forward. So,
what I do love is that even when you're talking about being covered, like. You know how you said, like, you don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, because he's making sure you're good. And it's like the only thing we have to worry about is making sure he's good. You know what I mean? Like making sure we're holding him down and we're doing what's needed to make sure his engine doesn't stop running.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think about that too. But that whole being covered and the whole spiritual part of it, like that's a deep thing too.
Yeah.
That's a deep thing.
Yeah, there's a reciprocity, a reciprocal relationship. And we're taught that in the 14 keys, like there's laws, there's principles, there's morale. And I think about like when women say like, oh, what you gonna do for me? It's like that's not a healthy relationship. Right. There's reciprocity in a relationship. You don't think like who would just gonna come into a relationship and be like, oh, I'm gonna just give. Like what are they getting out of it? It's like nothing. It's like what's the point?
You gotta give something. I think even in Anu, like if you come into Anu, that's like covering. You're covered under Anu. So it's like, what do you give? Because you're expecting Anu to feed you,
right? And
to protect you and to keep you as a culture, but what do you give in return as well? So
right.
I think it's, you can look at it so many different ways,
right.
So many different ways.
Right. That is true. Like, even coming to the community, there's been experiences where people come in and be like, oh, this is not what I thought it would be. Or they'll, leave still with those same ideas. Like, yeah, this wasn't what I was like. But when you came, you were supposed to be given. You were supposed to be given to the space
right.
that you wanted it to be. Not just looking with your hands held out like, give me. So, like, yeah.
Give me. Oh, man. Can you think about a time maybe when you weren't covered, and just how it differs from now and back then, like when I wasn't covered,
Yeah, I don't consider like any of those past experiences as truly being covered because I didn't like totally give my life over. So it wasn't like a true dedication, like, okay, I am totally subservient to what it is that you tell me to do and the plans that you have for me. So I would say that's the main difference. There was always this constant resistance, like, oh, I really don't want to do that, and it's like now it's like it's not that resistance. Even if it's something difficult, it's like, okay, I gotta do it. I gotta give myself the pep talks, but it's like it's still that desire, like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Whereas before it was always like, oh, I just don't want to. I'll find any reason not to do it. It was extreme resistance. Extreme. So yeah.
Oh man, I think about it too. Like, oh, I really want to do that. Some things are still hard. You're like, like you said, when things are difficult, you do kind of be like, okay. But then you have to get into a space also, like, it's not about what you feel. Yeah. And he said that in the video, like, it's not about what you feel. Right. I don't feel like doing this, or this doesn't make me happy. And it's like, well, you ain't here to be happy. Like, I mean, you're going to be happy if you just do what you're supposed to do.
Right.
But it's like, it's not like you're here to, you know what I mean? Just feel and, like you're here to do work. If you're here to be covered and you're adding on to what's being built, you got to work. Right. You got to do something. So you got to be a contributor.
Yeah.
So I think about that too. Like before, it was like sometimes, well, I don't have anything to do. Like I have nothing to do here. It's like you got plenty to do. So, and if you're covered, you're gonna do it.
Right.
You'll do it.
Sometimes it's like you gotta eat your green peas. You're like, no, I don't want to eat those green, but they're good for you. You gotta. And yeah, it just reminds me of the recent build where he was like, sometimes the woman can be like the child, and so like there can be an aspect to that, but that was in the recent insight. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is true.
Yeah. So.
It is true. It is true. I love when he used like headship, that word headship, and rules you. It's like, yes, we're being ruled over. Because,
yes.
I mean, I feel like if we were left with our own thoughts, we would just be running in circles. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Just not being productive, but being ruled over. It's like somebody is managing like your thoughts and your
right.
emotions when they rise. Like they're able to kind of cone, like, I don't know, I guess you could say cone you in, but it just keeps it tight. It keeps you tight.
Right.
So you're not just out here running amok.
Right.
You know, like you see so many women doing in Babylon culture. And some women, they may have had the opportunity to be covered and they didn't want it. And sometimes when they get in their older ages, they regret it because they're unhappy.
Right.
So it's like, you know,
they're lonely.
Should have took that covering when you had the opportunity.
Right. And then they're lonely too. And then trying to pretend like they're not lonely. You know, and that's sad. That's sad, but then at the same time, it's kind of like, it's not sad because it's like we make choices, and when you don't value that headship, then that's kind of like what you get. You know, you're responsible for what your choices, and we're told that. And I do value the aspect of having that headship because, like, it does keep you clear. It keeps you, like, when your mind starts to go places, you like, man, my mind is getting chaotic. My mind is going here. I want to assume the worst. I'm thinking the worst. And then you're like, hey, listen here. Listen here. Let me set you straight. And it's like, oh, thank you. It's like, thank you. Thank you for that. So it does keep you sane, I would say, like having that light, and having that light
very
shine.
much so.
So I give thanks.
Yeah.
But I think that's I think we covered it all.
I don't think to go super long. I think people who are interested in being covered, like, they'll get the gist of it, and you can find more specific information in the A New Way, which is a free downloadable read that you can purchase on anewlifeglobal.org. And you'll learn as much as you really need, like the basis of what it means to really be covered. I know Chief gave some scriptural text, so you can get the spiritual aspect of it, but it's a pretty major thing for any young woman out there, any even older women who desire to be mated or covered, or just in a space where they're safe and able to actually be productive. I would say those are some good reads, the A New Way and the scriptural references that she mentioned in the video to be covered.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we do have a retreat coming up in July. It's going to be in New York. If you want to see what it looks like live
in action. Yes. Live and in the flesh.
Like, register and come see what it's like to be a part of our culture, a beautiful culture. Yeah, a righteous culture. So, I appreciate all those who are listening, and don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to A New Life Global Ministries YouTube channel so you can catch Chief Yuya's Insights live every Sabbath at 12 p.m. So thank you, everyone. This was great.
This was great. Y'all stay tuned for the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for riding away with us. If you like that episode, catch some of our previous Sabbath Insights. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and catch Chief Yuya live every Sabbath. Only on House of Yuya. Do you want to be